who has the best quarterback room in the ACC? Now, I need to make sure I have a couple of notes off the top here. One, this list is not in stone. Okay, this could change post-spring. This could change tomorrow. Also, we're not just ranking the starters. It's not just, well, they have Drake May as quarterback, so they're the X number of team in the power room rankings. No, or in the room power rankings. That's not the way that this goes. I want to know about your backup. I want to know what happens if plan A goes down. Okay, so without further ado, did a power ranking system of the best quarterback rooms in the ACC 5-1. I'm going to start at number 5. Number 5 is the Miami Hurricanes. You got Tyler Van Dyke, who was really good in 2021. We thought 2022 might be the last time we see TVD based on what he did in 2021. Was 25 touchdowns, 6 picks in 2021. In 2022, he threw 10 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He was banged up a little bit. There was a lot of question marks around TVD during the season. Behind him, you got Ja'Carri Brown, who Josh Gaddis tagged as one of the top playmakers on that offense. Not just one of the top quarterbacks, one of the top playmakers. Now, Josh Gaddis obviously no longer there. Enter in Shannon Dawson as the new OC. But I'm looking at this quarterback room, man, and the reason why I have him at 5 is based on what's under the hood. Like, you ever go into an old mechanics shop? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. That'd be kind of weird. But you know what I'm saying? Whenever you see a car that looks like it used to have some kick back in the day, had some horsepower, and you go check it out, and you look under the hood, you go, man, it's a nice engine. What's wrong with it? Some guy comes up, starts talking to you about the car. Man, this thing used to go. This thing, man, you know, the tires are flat now and the paint's a little bit chipped, but this thing had some giddy up and go back in the day. Now, I don't know if back in the day is really the right word to use with Tyler Van Dyke, as he's like a year removed from being one of the top quarterbacks in the country. My point in saying all this is the talent is there at Miami. I think for Miami, the reason why they haven't been successful is a lot more to do with what's around the quarterback room. Tyler Van Dyke was running for his life a lot last year. Ja'Carri Brown worked in at different positions last year, but all that's to say, there's a lot under the hood here, okay? I kind of want to hone in on that. There's a lot under the hood at Miami. Now, how much of that we get to see depends on the rest of the vehicle. But for my money, I think Miami has a lot of talent there. So for me, they're number 5 on the quarterback room power rankings. Now, at number 4, the NC State Wolfpack. Forgot about the old Wolfpack, didn't we? They are one of the sneakiest teams in the entire ACC because of what they had in their quarterback room. Brennan Armstrong transfers in from Virginia, similar to TVD. Remember what he did in 2021? Had like 31 touchdowns passing. I think he had somewhere around 9 or 10 more on the ground. Like, dude can ball a little bit. He can spin it. And then last year, significant drop-off in production. Now, why is that? His offensive coordinator, Robert Anae, went from Virginia to Syracuse. Well, guess what? Reunited, and it feels so good. Brennan Armstrong and Robert Anae are reunited at NC State, and I think they could be poised to do some big things. You cannot overstate the importance of a Jedi Master for a Jedi. You cannot overstate the importance of an OC for a quarterback. That reference was for Nick Brake and for all y'all Star Wars fans out there. Now, behind Brennan Armstrong, we have MJ Morris. And MJ Morris, I'm just going to say it, in a pretty limited sample size, less than 100 attempts, y'all, I'm not so sure he's not the top backup in the ACC. I mean, dude can sling the rock like David against Goliath. I mean, 52 for 86, 7 touchdowns, 1 INT. He won 2 games for NC State last year. Came off the bench, no problem, coach. I'm good. No warm-up. Let's go ball. He can sling it now. The ball comes out of his hand with a tight spiral. Throws on a frozen rope. Like, you pull up MJ Morris, you go learn something. He's a dog now, okay? So you hope Brennan Armstrong can go for you. The way that he plays, he's a bit of a dual threat. Been banged up before, but MJ Morris, if all else fails, he's shown you he can do it. So NC State, for me, is good for the number 4 quarterback room in the entire conference. Now, for 3, 2, and 1, this is where it gets a little bit juicy. All right? Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're locked in. We appreciate y'all being tuned in live. Appreciate the podcast rocking with us. Huge shout out to the people on Apple and on Spotify. Shout out to all the babysitters. Just got the AirPods in, not even paying attention to the kids as they're over there playing with knives and other things that could probably get them into trouble. They'll be okay. Just keep listening to the hard count. They'll be good in just a few minutes here, all right? Appreciate y'all for that. Now, at number 3, I got the Clemson Tigers. They got Cade Klubnik, They got Paul Tyson, who's been playing college football for about as long as you and I have been alive. You got Chris Vizina, 6'4", 205-pound unit. 4-star quarterback, obviously now at Clemson. He's going to be a freshman, or he is a freshman now, already enrolled. When I look at this room, the word to me is just sturdy. Like, it would take a lot for Clemson to be in a position where they're like, hey, man, we don't have a quarterback that can go for us. We don't have a guy that can go out and win the game for us. Now, some of that is what's around Clemson. Okay, Will Shipley, absolute savage. We had him on the program. I think one of the best running backs in the country. Got some guys that can go up and get it for you. Got Antonio Williams in the slot, but we're focusing on the room, right? We're going to try and keep this as much about the room as possible. Cade Klubnik, we have a limited sample size. Saw him look really good against North Carolina. Saw him look a little bit overwhelmed against Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. I think him paired with Garrett Riley is a match made in heaven. And then you just look behind him, there's a lot of talent. Paul Tyson played a lot of football. I'll rephrase that. Has been in successful football programs. Was at Alabama at one point in time, is now a redshirt grad to Clemson. So the way that I look at this, there's a lot of depth here. This might be the deepest room in the ACC. Is it the best room? Now, obviously, I have two teams ahead of them, so we'll talk about that in a second. But I think for just pure depth, the wagon is pretty sturdy when it comes to the wagon that is the quarterback room at Clemson, all right? So you feel pretty good about all three of those guys being able to help you if Cade Klubnik, if one thing leads to another, you got the other two behind Cade Klubnik being able to play for you. Now at number 2, I got the North Carolina Tar Heels. And to distill this down to one statement, my eyes work and I trust Charles Power. Okay? They have Drake May, who, y'all that watch college football, and if you're watching this show, you're likely a college football diehard, so shout out to y'all. He's the best quarterback in the country not named Caleb Williams. Is that fair? Like, can we just be real? Drake May is probably the number 1 player in the entire country if Caleb Williams just doesn't exist. Like, if the draft were today and Drake May could go, I have a hard time believing he wouldn't be selected in the first round. Like, I think he's that good. You have a lot of buzz already about next year's draft. Like, yeah, you got AR in this draft, you got Will Levis, but next year, y'all, Drake May and Caleb Williams could be 1 and 2 off the board. Like, that's the kind of buzz around Drake May. Going to be poised for another big year this year. I said 2 parts of that statement, right? Trust my eyes. I trust Charles Power. Behind Drake May, you have Connor Harrell. Now, Connor Harrell, for us here at On 3, was a 4-star quarterback, a top 10 quarterback in the entire 2022 class. Now, I specify for us here at On 3, Charles Power was much higher on Connor Harrell than the rest of the industry. I'm just going to keep it a buck right now. Nobody's messing with Charles Power when it comes to scouting in our industry. Like, he's just that dude. Men lie, women lie. Charles Power don't lie. So I'm trusting Charles Power on Connor Harrell. 73-yard kind of arm. There's video of him being in high school and going on different visits. I think he's on a visit at Michigan in high school is Connor Harrell. And I think Harbaugh just asked him to see how far he could throw. Kind of funny, but it's Jim Harbaugh, so we ride. Threw the ball 73 yards. So dude can spin it a little bit now, all right? He's got a big arm, to say the least, squats big weight. There's also a video of him on the internet of him squatting somewhere in the range of like 450 plus. So he can go, all right? He can go. He's going to be a guy that I think we end up seeing project really well post Drake May. But right now, the sample size is pretty limited. So what do you do when you don't have a sample size? You trust the scouts. I trust one scout, and that's Charles Power. So for that reason, I got North Carolina at number 2 in our quarterback room power rankings. Now at number 1, who else but the Florida State Seminoles? Number 1 quarterback for them, Jordan Travis. Behind him, you got Tate Rodemaker. The best way I could explain this is the formula is proven. The formula is proven. What I mean by that is, what is the purpose of a backup? You go to the backup when plan A doesn't work. Well, that happened for Florida State this year. Jordan Travis goes down. Tate, we need you, brother. Start warming up. They're down against Louisville at one point. Tate Rodemaker, no flinch. Florida State, no flinch around him. He goes in there, throws 2 touchdowns, goes 6 for 10. Mike Norvell, postgame, is like, I knew we could win with Tate Rodemaker. I had no doubt. I knew we could win with him. To have that much confidence in a backup in Tate Rodemaker, Tells you all you need to know about him, right? Sample size limited, but you've seen it work now. You've seen plan A go down. That is Jordan Travis. You've seen Tate Rodemaker win games for you. Let's go back to Jordan Travis. I think Jordan Travis is a top 10 player in college football. What he did last year, making a jump from 2021 to 2022 as a passer, with his command of the offense, with the way he was able to utilize his legs. Like, Jordan Travis is special. He's going to continue to be special for Florida State, and he's the reason why they are going to be a force in the ACC and make a run at the college football playoff. Mic drop. What else we need to say about him? All right. So for me, the rankings are as follows. When it comes to the entire quarterback room, not just one quarterback, the entire quarterback room. Got Miami at 5, Florida State at number 1, but you got NC State at number 4, Clemson at 3, North Carolina at 2, Florida State at 1. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.